evening, everybody, and welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. And right off the bat, I'm screwing stuff up.
Come on, Shelly.
I know. I'm Shelly Pruitt, and as always, these are my partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts. And you know what? I'm just kind of giddy because, you know, we're going to talk to somebody I kind of got a little crush on. He didn't know that till just now. Stay there. I'm going to bring you on the screen.
This is why we can't have nice people on the show,
I know,
Shelly.
this is
Damn
why
it.
we can't have nice things. So, guys, I got to tell you, because I'm so excited. We got him for a very limited amount of time. So, if it's okay with you guys, we're going to go and jump right into it tonight. Our special guest is Aaron G Thompson. He is one of the stars of 28 Days Haunted, and he's also the founder of Glow Rings. And you can always go find him at aarongthompson.com. He is an afterlife researcher. So please welcome the lovely and vivacious Aaron G Thompson. How are you, sir?
You're too kind, Shelly. This is I'm honored. I am honored. I'm doing wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I super appreciate it.
Now, I have a list of questions already.
I'm ready.
Well, first of all, I want to know, do you have any kind of, at first, I love 28 Days Haunted, one of my favorite new Netflix shows that has come out. And by far, I thought the most interesting parts were at Campton Grant's Inn. And with you guys, because y'all had some nutty stuff going on. And so what was it like, first of all, to be separated from your family and to be kind of in this bubble for 28 days?
You know, that's a lot harder than people can imagine. I mean, I know we isolate here and there, and 2020 gave us a taste of that, but to be fully pulled out, and for me, it was my little girl. She's now 5 years old. Then she was 3 when we were filming it. But that was rough. And what I did was, at least for her on her side, is I gave her mother 5 1-minute videos of me just periodically. I said, hey, once a week, or gone 4 weeks, but once a week, give her a video so she knows I'm still here. So I'm sure she never forgot.
She's like, where'd Daddy go?
Yeah, right. So it was tough. It was tough because we had no cell phones, we had no internet. It was tough, but it was like a weird psychological piece because at some moments, just drinking coffee, chilling, it wasn't too bad. But sometimes I'm drinking that coffee, looking out the back to the backyard, going, "What day is it? Am I ever really leaving? Am I some weird social experiment?"
How long was it before that started to take a toll on you?
Oh, I gotta say, a couple weeks. I say about 2 weeks, maybe even before that. And the toll was never too bad. I'll have burst moments because we were working the whole time. We were ghost hunting, investigating, researching, analyzing, day and night. They don't really describe or show kind of the hustle and bustle of our whole situation there. But yeah, we kept busy. I think it's those moments that we stopped. Kind of got to us because like, oh crap, we can't really leave. we can't go to the bar for karaoke night.
Well, and I think that's kind of what because we've talked to your partner in crime, or I don't know what you want to call him, Nick Simons, and we had asked him, when did it all go to shit, basically, like when were you at each other's throats? and that was like the conclusion we came to. We literally said, as we three as a paranormal group, be probably about like 14-15 days, I think we'd be ready to just rip each other's throats out. So it's interesting.
And Blake definitely snapped first.
And the funny thing is we were really good, actually, all 3 of us together. Sean was kind of the third man that that we didn't know, because Nick and I, we've worked with each other since 2009. But I gotta say it was interesting because you saw like little bits, like I said, what they present, But I actually had an oppression scenario happen to me, and it really threw me off. It kind of took me out of the game for about 2 weeks. And
Now, are you talking about the mirror incident where you began to see something strange happen?
Yeah, did he talk to you about that?
Not on camera. We saved that for you to tell us.
Yes, I'm like saying, I'm like, wait a second, that wasn't in the show.
No, Shelly's
I'm
psychic.
Yeah, you are you're hired.
Yay!
So yes, it was this mirror moment, which was fantastic because I analyze. You know, I'm the science guy. People like to throw out words, even Sean, love them, but like to throw out skeptic. Yes, I take a skeptical approach, but I believe I'm doing this for 24 years. There's something with afterlife, and ghosts and spirits and so forth, the energy, or what we perceive the energy to be. But I do have to take a magnifying look at everything that pops my way. I just can't jump and say, oh, paranormal, though I think a lot of things are a lot more supernatural than not. In kind of a weird dialogue, but yes, I was looking in the mirror and it looked like my face was turning to a witch. I was even describing it. I was holding my chin, and Nick is like, "Dude, buddy, what are you doing?" And I'm sitting there rubbing my nose. I'm like, "My nose is long, man. I got chin." I said, "I look like a girl," and I said, "I got long hair." And I'm just looking, I'm going like that with my tongue out. And then they don't really physically pull me, but they're like, "Hey, Aaron, sit down for a second." I'm like, "Okay." So I kind of back off from the mirror, and I'm almost in a drunken state. I mean, I'm looking in the mirror in the dark. It's not the best thing, a little disorienting. But I sit down, and both Sean is mostly saying, "Hey, I think we need to chill out for a second here." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm thinking in my head, we just need to work, guys. Like, what, why are we trying to pull drama? Because the cameras are around us. So I was getting like mad in my head at them. But I noticed myself boiling a lot more abnormally than I would. I'm not, I don't get upset. It's just, I think things through, so that I was really getting upset, about to pop on Sean. Then he goes to Nick and said, "Hey, Nick, you've been with him longer. Does he look different?" I thought Nick would say, "No, we'll move on." But no, Nick said, "Yes, I do." And then I instantly got mad at him in my head too. And I knew that was a wrong emotional reaction. I don't know why I was so upset. So I told Sean, "Get the water," So he goes to give me a bottle of water, and I go, "No, get the water. Holy water."
Yeah.
So that's when Sean's like, "Oh shit, this is real." He ran upstairs, grabbed his holy water, told me to repeat after him. And this is the fascinating thing. This is why I was sold on the whole moment. Saddened that it wasn't illustrated in the show, but he threw the water on me. I didn't think anything was going to happen. If anything, I was going placebo against any effect, because I just wanted to continue doing the investigation. I thought these guys were crazy. They want to look at drama and this and that, right? So they threw the water on me, and it felt like battery acid. It burned.
Whoa!
It hurt, and I instantly said, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I would have said,
and I looked down. And so as I'm repeating the St. Michael's prayer from Sean, I'm cursing through the entire thing. It's almost like and this sounds weird, but almost like a third narrative is coming out, and just cursing through this thing with me, but it was me. It was just weird. And I'm feeling this static nets being lifted off of me. I feel the freedom of my legs being free now. I feel the freedom of my chest. I'm feeling this whole process come. And it blew my mind. But as I was cursing through the prayer, I remember Nick in the corner with the camera, and he goes, "I don't think that's in the prayer." I'm thinking this epic moment that I'm having, and I even laugh. I'm like, what the fuck? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I am
like-
potentially freaking dying over here, and you're making
Yeah.
smart ass remarks, you jackass. All right, cool.
yeah. If we go down, doesn't want to go down like a chump. So that lifted off me. And I remember hopping out of the chair, like standing up, like this weight was off me. And I thought that was so cool because of the contrast of what I felt like. And I told the guys openly, because that's just me. I want to share, everything that I'm feeling, if it's atmospheric or situational or whatever, on site, just to document it. And I said, I hated both of you guys a moment ago, but I'm happy now. I go to understand, like I feel more awake, and my mood has took a whole twist. I said, "Thank you, Sean. I don't know what happened. I'll analyze it in the morning. Right now, let's get back to work." And that's really how that concluded.
So, do you think that it was just a particularly nasty spirit that was there? Or do you think it was demonic? What do you think it was?
Well, So the other interesting thing with this whole process is day one is when I got bit, and that's just the term that I'm using. And it was recorded. It was recorded. The whole moment of things of my impression happened. I did a solo in the location, and I went to the attic, and I had devices all around me. They all blew up, like lit up at the same exact time. I looked at the camera and I said, "Something's hugging me. It's really tight. Static." I go, "I'm uncomfortable. It's hard for me to breathe." I'm demonstrating this day one. And then next thing you know, all the instruments, they pop again. I look around because I'm like, what the hell is that? And I said, "It's gone. I feel fine." And then from that, my mental state started depreciating. It's smart when so let's say you're playing a game, right? Any game, and it's a team-based game. You want to take out specific players. Taking me out was very smart because I had experiments that I was going to do. I had, deep processes I was going to perform that I wasn't able to because it took me out for 2 weeks. And if Sean didn't get to me, how long would have impacted me? Now, demons is an interesting thing because I wholeheartedly feel like we create our own monsters, and that means demons. I mean, even it means angels in some contexts. And I have a whole kind of system behind that idea. It's pretty good. And when I walked onto this land, I didn't understand the game board. I had no clue of the pieces. And when I went to do spirit communication by myself in this new place, it was exciting because I had all these cameras on me. I had the big camera and I had I had 2 cameras on me. It was exciting. It was new. And I just didn't ground myself. And it saw an end. It bit. I got out of play for a good hot second. Once I got back into play, we were able to do, or I was able to participate, I should say, with the guys a lot more. But
well, what do you think? What do you think it was about you that made it so inviting for that thing to come after you?
And I think Ryan, just the fact that I did have the cameras around me, I didn't ground myself. See, I do my own protection in a sense of self-confidence. If you have confidence in action and conviction in word, it's all up here. And I've been solid for the 21 years or whatever at the time I filmed. I just was stunned with all these pretty shiny lights and this idea and this thing and the Netflix, everything was still in my head.
And
Day
you let
one,
your
right?
guard down.
I absolutely left my guard down, and I know that. And a bit fast. That's what it did. Whether the other players if they would have had their guard down as much as me, because I put myself in big situations often, so I have to have my guard up. And mostly it is passively. I just My head was in too many
Man.
places. Too much ADD that day.
Well, and that's what's crazy, because on multiple of our episodes, like, we preach that, like, you know, about like protecting yourself, you know, and whatnot. We all have our own little processes as paranormal
course.
investigators of what we do before we go
Mhm.
into a location.
I say
Shelly's like, bring it, bitch. You know, but I've been, well, Shelly, I know you've gotten it a couple of times too, but we've all kind of, I think, been in that situation where it's just like, bam, they just took an opportunity and took you out, you know?
You know, and it's humbling when
Yeah.
I kind of recognize when that's happened to me, because everything happens for a reason. And me, you know, you couldn't touch me in all those years. I've been in all these places and blah, 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 right? All these big narratives that I either created or put forth. And now here I am thinking I'm unstoppable or some format, right?
Yeah.
And I get bit. So it needed to happen. I needed to be humbled to begin with. So it
Not
sucks.
like that.
But,
Not like that.
It was
No,
just
no,
a hell of a time to try to humble you too, man. That's crazy.
You're like, great. You choose to do it on national television. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. At least I didn't spit out pea soup.
Hey,
You ought to have been in trouble by then.
mhm.
God, could you imagine? Like,
Child, you'd have been leading that thing. You know what? Next time.
I know.
Definitely. I mean, I have to say that something that I noticed particularly about what you guys were doing was that I noticed that you specifically seem to be having your camera watching things a lot. It seemed like, and I don't know, I'm sure everybody had a camera, but you seem to catch the coolest things. Like whenever everything was going on and that door closed on that last night and that door slammed shut and it's caught on your camera and you step over and you're looking like that door just slammed shut. And then of course you hear all the stuff that's getting thrown down the attic stairs and you're the first one to it. And you open the door and all, what were you thinking at that moment when crap's getting flung at you?
I'm glad you noticed that. So you notice how I don't run in fear. That's not my typical way as a researcher. I got to figure out what raccoon made this noise.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it was a lot of chaos that final hour there, the final moment. So I know where the cameras, where the robo cameras were, and I really tried to either complement the robo cameras with different angles or try to get an angle that they want to be able to capture. Because if something happened, you know, over my shoulder, like in Sean's, actually that was Nick's bedroom that Sean was in when everything was happening. There was a camera, as you saw, already in there. So I didn't need to have a secondary camera in there. And that's why I had it shooting out to the hallway. And that was common. And now, you know, it's funny because there's a speech that I said I was really hoping it was going to make it on the cut. But I basically told, it doesn't matter if we're on a fucking TV show. We need to close this house down and get the hell out, you know? But it was a little bit longer, and they could have threw some dramatic music over that. And
we had a few more curse words. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No,
like I said,
no, it's just gonna cut the Nick Simons like hands on a TV, like they're here.
That's gonna be in the director's cut.
Yeah, right. That's what it is.
Release the Aaron cut.
Yeah.
Or release the Captain Grant cut. There we go.
Exactly.
You know what? And I would love that. I wish Netflix would do that and do kind of the behind the scenes, because I mean, I will tell you what I got real curious about. I would be like, well, when do they eat dinner? What do they talk about when they're eating dinner? Are they reviewing evidence while they're eating dinner? Is their dinner good? I was concerned whether or not you were being well fed.
Oh yeah, we had a magic refrigerator for whatever reason. We woke up every day, and that refrigerator was full of DiGiorno. We were spoiled.
Oh,
think
steak
it's-
and DiGiorno.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, we had a grill. So one of the first things Nick had, one of the PAs, or he mic'd in the crew and said, "Hey, could we get some gas for this propane grill out here?" So yeah, we grilled quite a bit. I think if the cameras, if you saw that part of it, you're gonna hear us talk about Sonic the Hedgehog a lot.
So that was kind of the commonality
Well-
bonding moments, because it's not those moments when you're investigating that bonds you. It's those quieter moments. Those moments when you're just having a meal, or you're sitting there talking and you're kind of relaxing in those moments. And so Sonic the Hedgehog, huh?
Well, that's more the theme song. Nick liked to he wanted a transition theme, I think, Sonic. I can't even like whatever song he did. But yeah, that was the thing. And we talked about Kiss Chicken. Kiss Chicken is the most dangerous game. No one's a winner.
Oh.
Wait,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no.
I was like, Kiss Chicken.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Now, wait a minute. For those like me who have no effing clue what you're talking about, what is Kiss Chicken? And did you play and did you win?
No, we don't play. We can't play because no one's a winner.
No
But
one's
it
a
is
winner.
out there, and it's exactly what you sound like. I know Blake and Ryan absolutely. They played. No, just kidding. No.
Shut up, Aaron. You said you were going to say that, man.
Oh my God.
Shut
What
up.
is it? Where you have to try to kiss each other and whoever pulls back first loses? I'm
Yes.
just trying to do. Is that the game?
That's it. Yeah.
Psychic.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
That's
Ooh.
why. Actually, the funny thing is, I say it's the game with like a subtitle where no one's a winner, and Nick always corrects me where he says everyone's a winner. So I still stand with mine.
Yeah. Oh my
You're in
God,
trouble
that's
because I'm
hilarious.
taking Kiss Chicken notes now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
So-
thinking about the next things of the investigation. Who wants to play Kiss Chicken?
It's a dangerous game. Be careful.
The most dangerous, some people will say.
It is. Someone's going to be bold and not back down.
So what is it that got you into the paranormal just in general? I mean, you said about 20 something years. So what happened?
I didn't believe, and I had a weird a fear of death. I didn't know what the meaning of life is even still a big question, but what's a purpose? I don't know. It was, and Ghost is kind of was my gateway drug to afterlife. I didn't believe, I thought we were crazy. I thought we lived in a fear-based world. If we just blink out after we are done with our show, I kind of wanted to figure that out. Why did I choose like the world's hardest question? But I'm still in it, and I think I made some pretty cool movement forwards. There's still a lot of work to do, but yeah, I started because I didn't believe, and now I'm still in it because it's absolutely there. But what context is it? And that's, I think, pretty amazing.
Well, I did notice that you call yourself an afterlife researcher rather than a paranormal investigator. So
Yeah.
that's what all that stems from. That's because you and I know you're a science guy. And so what is your best? What do you consider your best technique, or what's your go-to thing that tends to get you results? What's your most favorite experiment to do?
There's a few experiments pending through that I'm still in practice with. I can't quite say that they're my favorite, but they can definitely be probably. I like to work with anything that's static based. I think that's where we need to focus on as a unit. Static electricity is actually a phenomenon as well. A lot of folks don't believe that because they have static generators or this and static. And seemingly we seem to control static, but at the core of it, we don't know how those ions pop scientifically. But whenever we mess with static scenarios, I don't know. It seems to interact at least supernaturally more with us too. Say the static generator or a balloon. I like using a balloon. Spirit communication's huge. Like in real life, you want to communicate, and I like to kick open the door and get some verbal confirmation right away. From there, we can turn things off and go silent and try other things. But I always love to start by getting verbal confirmation with a good session to know, we're getting intelligent response. That means they're willing. They need to be direct and multiple syllable and in context of what you ask. So there's a few rule sets with that, but I see Blake's on board with that.
I totally am, because it's funny every time that we start like some type of spirit box or an Estes or whenever we're trying to get some verbal communication going. I always try and get an intelligent response right off the bat by just saying, look, if you can come through, you can give me a name, a number, a color, something. I need you to give that to me so that I know I'm talking to something intelligent and not just residual.
A fun. So I like to play games with the boxes too. And what I do sometimes, mostly it's a application or SB7, or if we're practicing with the box. But I say, how many humanoids or how many people are on this team, or I try to illustrate how many fleshy people are here. Can you give us the number, and can you start with 1 and end with the number of how many people are here? And that's pretty cool. Some of the responses there. Sometimes we don't get like, say there's 3 people and we don't get 3, but we notice the box changes from sounding like gibberish to sounding like numbers. So I think that's fascinating.
So can I ask you a question? You said something about a balloon experiment. Can you tell me what that is? Because I'm not sure I know what that is.
Oh, I mean, not too many people use it yet. You just blow up a balloon, put it in the middle of the room, and ask the spirits to push it. That's it.
Oh, wait, you're literally using a balloon.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I really wanted something like greater.
Yeah, so it's not some great science experiment. It's just a balloon.
I was thinking, I was like, oh, I wonder if he hooks it up and he goes, did you do it and the balloon glows or something? I mean,
I'm sure there's a lot. So there's this experiment I did a while ago. It was so in 1912, cloud chamber was invented, which was to see it was a CUV rays. The idea was a CUV rays to see how harmful they could potentially be to our skin. It was a failed experiment. However, it did visualize dying stars constantly going through Earth. And the neat thing with that was the dying stars is actually in the far alpha spectrum of quantum, almost into the world of quantum mechanics, which I think is quantum theory and so forth. So it's right there in an area that I feel, well, now I'm kind of in a new area now, but I still think the area is good to collect supernatural data. And we all seen Dexter, right? His kill room.
Yeah.
I basically built a kill room, a tinier version, and made the experiments, and I put myself in the experiment. I had a firefighter out front to pull me out when I coughed. I was only going to stay in there for 5 minutes because I basically put myself in a bomb, doing EVP and getting video reads in there. So it's not an experiment I really take on the road. It's more of something that I do in the comfort of places.
That's like something the fire marshal would shut you down for.
Yeah, it's not FDA approved, and
exactly.
Don't tell anyone, okay?
No, this is all allegedly. Allegedly, you built a Dexter.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is really fucking cool, number 1. Number 2, did you find that you got more results in that enclosed chamber versus anywhere else?
Funny. I need to redo it and fix some things. So the next day I woke up and my skin was all flaking off of me. So that happens. And a like experiment was done in the 60s, I believe, with 4 scientists. They stayed in an hour, and their result was they all died. So it's definitely not say I was only in 7 minutes though, but
do not recommend this, so please do not try this at home.
For let me do it. Let me be the sheep, guys. Yes, the results. There were some interesting results. It seemed outside of my confinement, everything got amped up. Was it the area more curious on what the hell I was doing? I don't know. But things were pounding. Things were like, talk about poltergeist, like, and the whole time, and I'm like, people are like kind of screaming or Aaron, there's shit happening out here. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening,
As
guys?
you're trying not to pass out, going,
Yeah.
Fine.
Like,
So it was almost like a reverse effect where you thought you would be getting more inside, but outside is where everything started happening.
Yeah. So that's why there's a couple more things I have to do to kind of tweak that experiment. I could do smaller versions and not put myself inside, but I don't know. What fun is that?
Yeah,
Always gotta
I
be a
give
little
you
danger.
I give you props. I'll crawl underneath the house into a crawl space, a basement, a dirty attic, anywhere. But fuck that. I will for sure let you be the guinea pig on that. Not a problem.
I
Perfect.
got no
Let me.
fear. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
There we go. There we
I've
go.
lived a good life.
Nope.
If it goes tomorrow, oh well.
Nope.
I like
Nope.
it.
Donate my body to
I'll
science.
watch.
Let it go. What the
It's like,
hell?
what's my
Never
shirt
fear.
say? Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You two go right ahead. I'll be right outside with my phone like this. Like
That's all we ask.
Get it on
Get
camera.
the video. Yep.
yo, good, right? Cool. Okay. Just making sure.
And when they rip the fabric of the next dimension and the creature comes out and pulls them in,
exactly.
you'll be the one that.
Yeah, you'll be the one.
That'll
that
be
gets it.
exciting.
Yeah.
Keep the camera rolling.
All the while, Aaron's over there just like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah. I'm inside, perfectly comfortable. Besides, can't breathe.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
What? What? You need water?
So you were saying that you are doing more things with static electricity.
Yeah.
Do you think what we are dealing with exists more as static versus electromagnetic, or what do you think it may be?
Yeah. Awesome question, Ryan. I do feel that it's more static. It seems to be more positive when I utilize static style instruments of sorts. And even so, I actually collaborate with the leading scientists of free electricity, which is super cool, super honored to be associated with them. But they told me early on, they go, think static, I think static. And I was already on static. So our algorithms actually matched, and that's how we got in conversation. Of course, different verbiage. I feel that the overall, so I'm always looking for mechanics of why do things happen, right? Like that's, well, so I'm trying to look for foundation moments. I'm not sure, maybe a little big picture, but foundation mechanics, just how is this working? What's a good possibility? And it seems it's more consciousness based. So I started going around and splitting my research a little bit more. It's called Echo Cosmical Ether Mechanics, a study of how ghosts. I'm going to get that on a book here, hopefully early next year after some experiments. But so a ghost and a spirit. Hopefully, I'll break it down the best I can too. And this is why Nick.
I'm on the ride with you. I'm on the ride with you.
This is the one that knows exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, nice. Then perfect. So, and Nick is great because when he's with me, he's I don't know, he takes attention of the crowds and he's like, well, let me do this real quick.
Yeah, dumb it down for me, like way down for me.
Well, it seems so. I'm one of the few ghost hunters that are going to tell you ghosts and spirits do not exist in the context that we feel that they do.
Okay.
They tend to be a biological reaction of the consciousness separating from the vessel upon expiration, leaving an echo or a imprint, kind of like a smart photo with AI capabilities.
Okay.
Kind of like that whole thing about energy can't be created or destroyed; it just changes forms.
That's actually incorrect with this type of setup. So even Einstein knew that actually didn't hold water. About 10 years prior to his deathbed, someone came out with an equation that actually destroyed like 80% of his. And he, on his deathbed, he looked at the person doing his autobiography and said, "How would you feel if you misled the entire world?" Which is kind of deep coming from him.
Yeah.
Popular and a science at the same time. Well, if you think about the mechanic of the consciousness being everywhere, so energy itself is perpetually created and destroyed at the same exact time. It's what's in the middle that keeps you moving, that answers gravity, perpetual motion, forward motion, inertia. And that's where the downward flowing ether actually comes in. And there's an experiment called the Preston-Morley experiment that can actually visualize that. And there's a few experiments I want to do based on that in a more ghostly format here soon. But it's almost, and it almost can explain gravity, which is of course a phenomenon too. So that gravity is really just pure consciousness, a flow, and it can potentially answer like prayer or well wishes or good vibes, whatever you want to call it. It's really intent, focus, but intent is probably my favorite word out of it. So if you have intent with something, there's a subatomic particle connectivity situation that goes on that can reach cosmically. Actually, maybe that explains why some people feel more alien, more extraterrestrial, because really it's all connected. Tomato, tomato in a lot of cases. I feel through my research and data that I've collected.
See, I love that. Like that whole line of thinking. Because I mean, we see time and time again, obviously, like what's perpetuated on TV over and over and over again about the way that people think about things. And I love these outside perspectives like this, that it could be a complete destroy everything that we were brought up with, and let's rebuild this over here of what it actually could be.
And it's funny you said that, because so about 2019 is when I came across this data and put this kind of together, and I actually hated it. I was on the phone for like, I don't know, 7 hours. I know it was a 17-hour drive I was doing, but like 7 hours with a shaman friend of mine and with a scientist friend of mine, bawling like a baby, because I go, with this research, it basically states we create our own monsters. I'm not equipped to battle monsters. What am I doing? And it's still kind of there. I'm not equipped. Well, yeah,
of course you're equipped to battle monsters. You said it's all right here.
It is. So I'm the best equipped person to handle it.
Which is why he's in the chamber going, "What's going on, guys? I don't know."
That's right.
I heard growling out there. Is everyone okay?
It's like everybody's fine. Everybody's got that. So I really like that whole idea about it's your intent, and what you expect is what you end up with, because that is what you're creating, because that's what you're putting out there, and that's what you're getting back. Right? You're basically explaining vibes and
absolutely. And one of the big, so I'm a science guy, right? I like grounded practical science, and a lot of that is, I want to say, theory bridging. But there is actually some experiments that prove positive to that. And one of the big, or not experiments, but just natural known facts that no one can, that understands a little bit about biology can't really deny. So when we pass away, we don't take our lungs with us, right? We don't take our head, our shirt, we don't take our heart, we don't take our brain with us. That goes away. So why on earth would we feel like we take our lobes with us that control the limbic system? 100% hate and love, emotions. So that's where the emotional shed comes, by leaving the imprint, that echo that can be morphed into what we feel it needs to be morphed into. It's an emotion imprint. We're at peace when we're in a consciousness state. Okay,
so you saying that it's an emotional imprint. Do you think that then people focusing on that emotional imprint and focusing their intent on whatever that emotional imprint is, then gives whatever that is sentience, and that's what we're experiencing with spirits or ghosts or whatever you want to call it?
Or whatever, if we even create demons. I mean, demons are real, but in what context, right? I do feel that we create that. It's almost like, remember that famous photo in World War II, where that one soldier's out in the middle of the street and he's romantically kissing that nurse or whatever.
Nurse, yes.
A lot of people remember that photo, but remember that photo that so-and-so put on Instagram yesterday? It's very forgettable,
Yeah.
And it's kind of that situation, as long as we keep that intent, we keep remembering something, it could keep
so the
creating.
collective conscious plays a part in creating that imprint, keeping it there.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called egregore. Egregore Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of that
Yeah.
man's favorite words, right there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure is.
Nice. It's good.
You two are totally preaching from the same book right now.
Okay,
Y'all
I
so
are
love
Ryan,
this.
did I not
Ryan,
tell
we're gonna
you
be
this
okay.
man right here? I told you. I was like, Ryan, you gonna love this guy because y'all
Yeah.
are like talking the same language. Me and Blake are over here going, I wonder how many times he did push-ups in the mirror on 28
That
days.
is not what I'm fucking thinking.
Oh, they did me dirty.
Hey,
They
don't be.
loved showing you doing this stuff. I mean, you were looking buff. That's where I got my little crush on you. I gotta be honest.
You know,
like,
it's funny. I didn't even, I watched it the second day it was out with my family, and I'm getting all these text messages and all these, you know, these DMs and stuff. And I'm just like, no spoiler, guys. Like, what's going on here? But people, and no one's spoiling anything, but they go, I'm so sorry. It broke my heart. And they're saying all this thing. I'm like, broke your heart? What happened? Did they kill me off? Am I like a green screen ghost? Then someone said, nice push-ups, by the way, winky face. I'm like, and I'm trying to think push-ups. Like, honestly, I forgot a lot of it. It's been more than a year since I was there by the time it was released. So I forgot. Honestly, it's weird, but I forgot my whole experience there until the TV show popped out. Then my memory just started hitting. I just couldn't remember anything. So when I saw it, it all came back. But it's just
Tom,
interesting.
you were going to town on those.
Heck yeah.
He's working on some frustration.
It's funny because I'm in partnership actually with well, I'm waiting to get my first package, but it's an underwear company.
Oh my God. Will you please send everything vaguely paranormal a picture of you modeling them? And I swear to God, we'll pay for our page with it. We will sell your underwear for you.
Shelly, I need you to calm down. You're
you
asking, don't promise that on air on a recording, Aaron. I'm warning you now because Nick Simon still has not lived down the fact that he owes her a pair of his pants.
Nick Simon's promised me a pair of his pants. He has not delivered yet, and I will not ever forget it.
You shouldn't forget. I'll never forget it now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
So are you going to send us a picture of you modeling your underwear?
Oh, no.
Yes.
How are we going to know if they work or not?
Tune in to the next season.
I was going to say, you'll have to wait, Shelly. Like the rest of the world, calm down.
Why did you tell him not to agree? I was working on getting him to agree.
Listen, because I watch out for our special guest, Shelly, unlike you, who tries to back them and trap them in corners. So
that's right. Back and tag, baby.
So
Aaron's going, oh God, really? Now she warned me before we started. She said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Sure." Now you're regretting it, aren't you?
Actually, I got
no regrets.
I got a couple of questions in the comments for you that are going along the same lines of what you were just talking about, Aaron. One of them says, "How can the imprint move from place to place, or how can the imprint follow you around if that's the case, like with what you were talking about?"
Because we create the rule sets as a person, as a human. It works same thing with a Ouija board, it's the same thing with our spirit box. We give the rule sets and we perceive something to happen. And sometimes maybe Blake created this so-and-so, which is very real at that point. Though I didn't create it, Blake did. And now Blake so-and-so wants to follow me around. I may create it to something else when it's in my turf, but at the same time, it's kind of a pass the ball type scenario. So it's a very real scenario, but it's completely emotional based, it seems.
Love that.
That's why you have to walk into a haunted location with your head correct. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to walk in with good energy and that kind of thing. Okay.
Absolutely. Positive energy. That's super true, Shelly. You have a lot more fun being positive and you know, a lot more games you play with the unseen, which is awesome.
Yeah, ask me about it. They like to open up the door on me when I'm getting dressed.
They're like, "Oh, this is a great time. Her tiddly bits are hanging out. Let's open the door."
I'm naked and the door goes open on its own. I'm like, "Whoa." I always get the dirty ones.
Ectoplasm everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
that was dirty. That was good, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Aaron got plasma everywhere. I love it. Go ahead, Ryan. I cut you off.
No, you're fine. It's like you were saying, walking in somewhere.
Blake can't breathe.
God,
good Lord. But walking in somewhere and having the that's why there's so many places that do have such a negative connotation, and there is negative things there because people walk in expecting to find the negative. If you walk in expecting to find
Absolutely.
positive, it's going to be completely opposite. You get in what you put into it.
Absolutely. Again, we create our own monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the energy, the consciousness scenarios out there, these imprints are out there. It's just what context, and yeah, absolutely. You put in what you get out of it. I love it.
That's why I always get the dirty ones, because I'm always like, hey, let's come up to my room later. How they answer me too. I'm like,
yeah, most likely they will. You know, the names, when I ask for my name over the box now, mind you, consciously I'm saying, and I've asked it a couple of times, but I don't ask it all the time, but you get Aaron G Thompson now when I ask.
Awesome.
So
and I do know that the
syllables.
G is very important.
The G is. The G
yes,
is.
The G is very important because that distinguishes you from the eye doctor in California.
It does. And it puts me right with a football player somewhere,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, right.
Who has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, right. He's like, they're all like,
that.
what? He played for the Miami Dolphins. What
He's
the fuck?
like, yeah, Aaron's like, this chick is such an idiot. But that's okay. See, I do know.
I do not say that.
That's okay. I'm fine with it. They say it all the time.
So what do you think? Two-part question. Do you believe in cryptids and extraterrestrials? And if so, what do you think those are? Do you think that's also the same thing as a manifestation of what we
buckle up, Aaron. Here you
put
go.
into, or what do you think they are?
You know, I am going on a narrative because I don't practice crypto and xenology or ufology as heavily as others. However, yeah, and kind of leaning towards meaning the mass consciousness scenario. I do feel like there could be something like that. Very possibility. Even speaking with a couple of the guys that do cryptodes, ask them, do you ever think you'll find a Bigfoot? And they say it's the thrill of the chase that they actually continue doing said dance. However, I've talked to some people that swear that they absolutely seen X, Y, or Z. So I believe them. Now, there was, and I can't remember the date or time frame, last 15, 20 years, a sighting over Area 51. And it's funny that there's a lot of sightings around Area 51. The three people that saw them, they were interviewed separately, and all of them actually, I believe there's four people, and all of them described it differently. They all witnessed something, but when they interviewed differently, the item looked different to them. And then the last person didn't see anything at all. Probably thought the other two were crazy, or the other three, or whatever. I find it interesting, though, that again, it's over Area 51 because we presume that that's where the UFOs should be. You don't see other military bases, in India and other locations having UFO, sightings over their military bases because their culture is different. Their culture doesn't really go by UFOs or even believe in UFOs, so they wouldn't have that. Again, it's just another potential mass consciousness manifestation of some sort, potentially.
So do you think that people that do see those sorts of things, do they just have more of the ability to see those things, or are they meant to see those things?
I think they're open to it. I think everything's a practice, if that makes sense. So just like a lawyer and doctor practices ghost hunting and psychic abilities, metaphysical, all that's practice. And we all practice metaphysical, whether we're a crazy cynic, a weird skeptic, or us. We passively do it, just in our nature. The biology controls and dictates what we see in this plane and whatnot. But I think metaphysical is very normal thing for every day. So it depends on your practice. If people go out there practicing to find UFOs, they will find them a lot more than me. And it's funny because some of the boxes, the spirit communication boxes that we use, I mean, they pretty much use them to find aliens. We're using the same stuff. If we really want to break it down, it might be a frequency off here and there, but who cares? We're doing the same behaviors, and they're getting aliens talk, and we get ghosts. It's just fun. It's funny.
It's very interesting.
So you mentioned something about psychics. So in that, going along with your theories here, how do you explain people who know things that are about to happen, or people who can predict things, or even somebody who can tell you something about you even though they've never met you? Do you believe in the phenomena of psychics?
It's his
Yeah,
NFL.
absolutely.
It's his NFL Wikipedia page, Shelley. Calm down. That's how they find out.
That's right.
Thank you, Blake. I wasn't going to say it, but next question.
Exactly.
Good question, Shelly. But so with the consciousness being all around us, mind you, the consciousness. When I speak on that, I speak of this one mass scenario that's all knowing. So there's no language that needs to be, illustrated. It knows everything. So if you are a more practiced individual in, say, a specific claircognizant or clairvoyant or whatever the case may be, we radiate energy. So that radiation goes out a little bit. What if it hooks on to that network, and now, poof, more practice, it can be honed and tuned into knowing things, because there's no conception of time in the consciousness scenario. I mean, that's again man-made scenarios. So past the future, all that fun stuff. At that moment, someone who's practiced can very well be a superhero because it's out there.
I really wish I'd understood what he just said. You're too smart for me, Aaron.
No, I'm not, Shelly. I just use a lot of words and talk a lot to confuse people.
So you're basically just saying if your antennas are up, you can catch the waves.
Absolutely.
There you go, Shelly. You got it.
That's phenomenal.
Got it.
I love it. Still in that.
I'm real good at dumbing it down so I can get it.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Blake. I interrupted you.
Well, I was just you've got our comments like lighting up with questions, and they're actually throwing out some pretty daggone good ones.
Nice.
I mean, I'm going to, Shelley. Calm down. I'm getting there. So the last question just came up was, what is your theory on portals then?
Well, again, and you see, I'm almost creating a foundation, right? So these portals, and even if you talk about ghosts, there's ghosts, spirits, and poltergeists, right? If you think about it, so ghosts are that energy that's on rails, doesn't interact. Spirits interact with you. And then a poltergeist is a spirit that can touch you or touch something. That's really the big difference. But they're just classifications. If you go to Japan, I believe there's 36 different classifications of spirits, all based on crazy emotions. So if we go to portals is just another idea of a mega haunting location. I can pull something, well, theoretically and in practice, from wherever I choose to, and place it in a location, or I could even make a building more haunted than it's not. Again, that's creating our own monster scenario. So I think if people make portals and they create that scenario, it's going to happen. I'm not going to be able to stop it unless I get enough people to throw some mass positive or whatever we want to call it, because I'm not saying negative or positive, I guess, here. So our portals can be a thing. But again, everything that's that emotional based scenario is all man-made. So I can create probably a dinosaur. That'd be terrifying. A dinosaur ghost.
No. They've got like 5 movies about why that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
let's not do that.
Guys, let's not do that.
I love it. I want a dinosaur, just a little one.
I know. Maybe we'll do like Yoshi's. That's adorable.
There you go.
It's like a Yoshi spirit.
Yeah.
Cool.
I want one of those. Did you have another question that they had in there that you wanted to ask before I ask another one?
No, go for it.
Okay. So now I have to ask, because this was like the biggest, other than the finale when everything was going crazy, this seemed like one of the biggest controversies, and you know what I'm about to ask you. And
I see you.
It got so tense. It got so tense in those moments. And I was tense watching it. Were you able, now based on your scientific theory, were y'all able to recreate that? Could you make it happen again?
Well, no, we couldn't. We didn't see it. We didn't see it come up again either. So here's my take on it. I know mine definitely differs from Nick's, respectively so. Sean, I like him. He is, and I've said this in interviews, but of course, you notice how I'm talking now. This is the reason why a lot of my interviews were cut because
Why?
I'll be like, no, I don't think it's that. It could very well be this. So, oh, my phone just said I have 5% battery left too.
Oh, we'll hurry.
Oh, well, we're getting close to.
All right. So, what was I saying? So, see you. So, Sean, I love Sean. He's a good guy. He's very self-righteous with his procedures, to be blunt there. But though he wants to present on TV a lot, I mean, because it's a career opportunity and it can explain, what he does as a demonologist on a very big avenue. But he's so passionate about the field itself too. He would not it's just not in his character to jeopardize something and to put something fake. And I truly believe that he did not do anything to put that on there to do drama. My best guess is pareidolia. And I know that, that seems to be thrown out with this, but if it's not him, not pareidolia, I mean, I don't see it being supernatural. It just doesn't seem to have characteristics. Pareidolia seems to be the best bet. It's just the water happened to hit right streak. So
But that
Yeah.
place is an active.
Go ahead.
That place is an active bed and breakfast, right?
So somebody could have been messing around with the mirrors before y'all ever
Yeah.
got there. It might not have been cleaned
It-
properly.
it was. This was a little deeper in. And see you all. I don't know. You know what? Give me one. Yeah, I got like 2% left. It's about to go off of me. I say I could run downstairs and get the charging cord. You guys got a second?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
sure.
want
We
you
can,
to do
Okay.
the
yeah,
story.
sure. We can fill.
Sure.
We can totally
definitely
fill
talk amongst
time.
ourselves. We're
This
good
is
at that.
our show. We're great at this.
I am telling you,
say-
I am learning a lot, and
Oh
and
yeah.
I can tell you right now, I'm not smart enough.
I'm
Well-
in. I'm loving this shit.
I think, well, we know you are because, and by the way, Shelly, let me correct something for all the viewers watching.
What?
Me and Ryan get into these conversations pretty deep every now and then. So you hush your mouth about me and you just being like, "Durr."
I'm sorry. I was thinking about conversations we have. You don't get, you know what? You don't get deep with me. That sounds dirty. I know, but I said it.
No, they go real deep. No.
I'm gonna make you two play kiss
But-
chicken or chicken kiss. Chicken kiss? What is
I
it?
can't do that. Kiss chicken.
Kiss chicken.
Kiss chicken.
Um,
I wrote it down just so I didn't forget.
No, well, see, this is my whole thing. This is why I love it. This whole freaking different perspective. That he's all these theories that he's got, and how he's coming to the conclusion of all of this stuff, with the manifestations of kind of being from a person, from an individual. Like that's because I mean we talk week to week about what we believe and what we believe everything is, I mean, we have our set beliefs as well, but to hear the entire different perspective of it is absolutely blowing me away because he's right. He's built this foundation and he's thought about it. He's branched it out. He's he's researched other cultures, customs, and countries and things like that to be able to make it work.
Oh, I bet he ain't coming back.
I bet his phone just completely
It
died.
did. It just
Oh, man.
died. He's gonna come back and go, well, interview over.
Yeah, right. Be like, well, that was my hour.
There he goes. No, I
but
still got like a minute left.
yeah, no. If he pops back in, we'll hang out for a little
Absolutely,
bit
'cause I wanna
longer. If
hear
he
the end
pops
of that
back in,
story.
we'll pop him back
Yeah.
on. But to me, that's just absolutely fascinating that he's done all of this in-depth research.
Yeah.
With looking into his foundation of beliefs versus different customs, cultures, and countries.
Exactly. And that's what I love about it. And that's what, I love about this field is I think you have two different things that are, they're speaking the same language, but they're saying it differently. You have the spiritual side, and you have the scientific side. And when you can marry those two together to back up either one, I think that is so fucking interesting and so cool.
He's made some really good valid points too, and that's what I like about it. Like, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating because I've caught myself a couple of times. Like I said, we have our set beliefs in this field and what we believe to be true based on experience, but I've caught myself a couple of times going, "Oh shit." Okay.
I have too. The part that I've
Yeah.
understood. Yeah.
We'll get the Aaron to Shelley dictionary going.
Yes,
later on.
I'm gonna have to have it really like Ryan. If you can explain it to me, dumbed down. There are a couple things I need dumbed down.
Yeah.
Your mind's making shit.
Oh, my mind's making shit.
That's basically all it boils down to. Is what he's saying is that basically it's your intent, it's your mind that's causing this to come to fruition.
I always go in wanting to have fun, and somehow or another, naughty crap comes to me. I'm not trying to get naughty crap.
I seriously thought you just said, but I got a good tent.
Good intent.
Just one.
I know, but
Good
it sounds
tent?
like a good tent.
It sounds like one good tit.
Oh.
Oh, well, that's true too. I mush them together and
Just
make
one?
one good one. Yeah. God, I hope he don't pop back on right now. Y'all don't know I said that.
He's gonna be like, "What the hell?"
He's gonna go back and rewatch this, like the part where he had to go get his phone charger and be like, "The fuck were they talking about?"
Don't kid yourself. He's probably not coming back.
He's probably not at this point.
He's like, thank God I got out of there.
He's like, "Ooh, I knew I didn't charge my phone for a reason. Ooh, thank God."
He's like, you know what? I wonder if he does that on everyone. So he's like, oh, I said an hour. Funny how it lasted almost
right at an hour. Aaron, we're watching you.
No.
We're watching you, Aaron.
Aaron G.
Anyways, Brian, go ahead with what you were saying before Shelley said she had one tit.
Oh, no.
I didn't say that.
Hell, I can't remember now.
Yeah.
I got distracted by
This is where the show goes off the rail, guys.
Off the rails. This is usually what we talk to the guest about after, whenever we get off the air with you guys. This is called time filling. We really are not good at it.
No, we are good at time filling. No, I don't know. We've talked about tulpas and egregores and all that kind of stuff on this show about bringing that energy and the locations that we know. We've talked about Yorktown and what people expect whenever they go there. Could it be something that's along that lines?
Yes.
We've now talked about Gregg County. We've talked about Old Park. We've talked about all these different locations that we have captured very extreme, very aggressive evidence at. Of these, is it the people that are walking in here time and time again that's causing this to happen?
And two, I think we tend to have a lot happen around us because maybe we're all just dialed into the right frequency and amplifying that frequency and hooking into whatever is out there and bringing that down. Does that make sense?
You saying we all got our antennas up and we're catching the wave?
I think
we're all on the same brainwave.
We're all dialed into the same, and maybe that, because we talk about like maybe what we have is such a beacon to whatever is metaphysical, and that's why we get all the shit that we get because we are dialed in.
I'm making sure he hasn't messaged us. He's gonna appear in the comments and be like, hey, it's what it is. But hey, you know what? This might be a Aaron G Thompson part 2. We might have to finish the conversation later.
Y'all, we're never going to get him back.
We're never going to get him back.
Yes, we are.
This is what happens. We get them on one time, and then they're like,
they learn.
Shit. But we always ask them before we go live, are you sure? And I know we have a few of our guests in the comments right now who can clarify that.
Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, they asked me, are you sure? If any of y'all know Aaron, you tell him. We're waiting on him.
Because we talk about Shelley's one tit. That's what we talk about. Sometimes I forget we're actually live.
Yeah, we're actually live.
the uniboob.
Anyways. No, I think that's fine. I mean, we'll get the rest of the story from him at some point. I mean, we will figure it out. And
well, here's the thing that, and anybody who's watched that 28 Days Haunted knows that is the moment that I felt as far as groups were going. Out of the 3 groups they had rolling, I was hyper focused on that one in particular. I was tense for them because it didn't call into question somebody's motive. It didn't call into question somebody's determination. It called into question someone's evidence. And you know how we are. We are we try to debunk everything. And if we can't debunk it and nobody else can debunk it that we can find, then we say, okay, this is proof. It's gone through 4, 5, 6 sets of eyes before we ever say, this is what we caught.
Yeah.
So and I don't think it was necessarily intentional to call someone's evidence into question,
Well,
but that's how it evolved.
But you've got to be analytical in this field. You
Of
really
course.
do. You have to look at everything from every possible perspective to see if there's no way I can explain it, then it's paranormal. But if there's this variable and this variable and this variable, and these three could all be true, I'm not so sure. You know,
Right.
like you have to be looking at the minutia of everything to try to figure out what is actually happening.
Well, and that's why I wanted to know, because I know he's a science guy. And
Mhm.
so I was wondering if they had at any point tried to recreate it, like completely cleaned the mirror, turned on the hot water in there, closed the door to see if they could get it to come through again. Maybe perhaps asked it to see, can you manifest this again?
Mhm.
If that's truly what the thing is, if you can manifest it, why not try that on the experiment?
Yeah.
But he did say he pretty much got jumped or bitten, as he said, right away.
Mhm.
So, because he did have a lot of experiments he wanted to try. We learned that the very first part of this interview.
Yeah.
And maybe something that he didn't manifest decided that they were like, no.
Yeah.
Because I think they're spookies. So,
No.
And I didn't imagine them.
Well, other than getting the round,
not-
the second part of that story, I think we pretty much had asked him everything that we wanted to. So
that literally was my last question on my list.
it was the end of your list.
That is,
Mhm.
because I thought we had it timed out just about right.
Mhm.
No, I agree that we did.
Well, would we like to go ahead, gentlemen? Is there any questions in the comments that we can answer or no?
I don't have popped up,
Okay.
and
Well,
I don't
then
see that he has popped back. So his phone must have
Yeah, I
been
told you
dead.
he's not
Yeah,
coming back.
It's dead.
Yeah.
So, Blake, do you want to tell them everything they need to know?
Sure, Will. That's fine. First and foremost, we got a few things that we got to announce because we still got things that are coming up a little bit later on. So, on this month, April 22nd, Saturday, at Broadhead Manor, you can go to Spirits in the Spring, which is a Paracon. If you remember, Nick Sarlo with Shadow Hunters Shadow Hunters Investigations Paranormal Events, and Bill Walter with Broadhead Manor, and Nick Simons with 28 Days Haunted, and now Aaron G Thompson with 28 Days Haunted. They are all going to be at this Paracon. That is why we had them on one a month, so that we could help them promote it along the way, and you can go and listen to them speak. Well, maybe except for Bill. Bill's just the owner of Broadhead, but he's a lot of fun. He's going to chase you around and scare you and jump out at you and all that stuff. Sir Sexy, shout out.
Yes.
So that one is on April 22nd of this month. It is $10 with a food donation to get in, $20 without. You can also do a paranormal investigation at Broadhead Manor for a separate ticket purchase that night, which is going to be fantastic. So if you've heard all the stories that Bill Walter put up with us, what was it? 3 weeks ago, something like that. Now you can go back and watch that episode and hear all about it. So that's going to be happening on April 22nd. Also, in May 12th through the 13th, we are going to be in Ballinger, Texas at the West Tex Paracon, where we will be speaking alongside people like John Zaffis and the Ghost Lab Brothers. Sorry, couldn't remember their names actually.
Ghost Lab.
Yep. And Natalie Jones, the CEO, or the president and CEO of the Paraflix Paranormal Plus. We are also going to be investigating both nights, the Old Park Hotel and the Old Reynolds County Jail as well, that you can come and join us on. So you can come watch us speak. And also, as another one, we have July 14th through the 16th. You can catch us in Kansas City, Missouri. We were going to be speaking at Metacon. They are also going to have another great lineup of speakers and guests, yours truly included, as well as 30,000 square feet of shopping, fun, and healing. So you can check that out as well. And you can see all of the places we're going to be speaking. On top of that, we also have Gregg County Historical Museum tickets for June the 10th are now available and on sale. Go to our Eventbrite page. You can buy tickets for that, as well as our 2-night Old Park Hotel investigation the first weekend in October, where we are going to be opening up Old Park and the Old Reynolds County Jail for you to be able to investigate with us. We are going to post all of those links tomorrow. You don't have to really go search for them. Just be looking on our page tomorrow morning. We'll get that out to you. Speaking of following, make sure you're following us across all social media channels, whatever one you're watching us from. We're not just on that social media channel. We got a lot of exclusive content coming out to certain channels. So go find our Linktree link and our About Me or the descriptions of the episodes and click on it and be taken right where you want to go, which includes all of our social channels, our public events, as well as our Patreon, which for $5 a month, you can get just under 100 extra videos of us acting absolutely freaking stupid and foolish. And you can hear all the dirty details, everything that's about our lives. If it's not on a tax return, we divulge it in the Patreon, on the Patreon. So, and as always, any stories, any comments, any questions you have, those can be sent to us at theevppod@gmail.com. That's THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
Like, share, and subscribe. That was a mouthful.
Take a drink,
Say-
man.
I'm telling you.
Probably dry.
So, you guys, we want to really thank our special guest, Aaron G Thompson, for coming on.
Absolutely.
Star of 28 Days, afterlife researcher, scientist. Make sure you go to aarongthompson.com. That G is important. And go and check out his glow rings, check out everything. And if anybody catches a picture of him modeling that underwear,
Just keep it to yourself.
no, send it to me. I got a little crush still. Anyway, so for my partners of Paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith, Mr. Ryan Roberts, I'm Shelley Pruitt. Thank you so much for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.